ready to catapult your team to new heights? Do you need to lock on the problems and splash them with ease? Then stand by to recover your sanity and take your team to the next level with this week's mission from Locked On Leaders with Mission Commander Dave Rosenberg.
So the most difficult thing I did as a radar intercept officer in the back of an F-14 wasn't shooting down the bad guys. It was actually knowing which bad guys to shoot down. You see, your radar screen becomes inundated with targets. And you have to prioritize them, determine what the high threat is, and then you lock on to the target, meaning you put all of your radar energy on the high threat target and you prosecute that target until the threat's eliminated. Now, I wouldn't be able to do this unless I understood two key things. One, what's our mission? And second is what is our strategy? Then it's easy to determine the high threat target. Not high threat to us, high threat to the mission. Business is no different. We get attacked every single day by problems and challenges, whether it's change to the HR laws, or a service failure, or a quality control issue, or personnel issue. And the list just keeps coming on and on and on. Without a clear-cut strategy and an understanding of what your mission is, there is no way for you to prioritize these targets. So what's my mission? Frankly, I am on a mission to replace "Thank God It's Friday" with "Thank God It's Monday." If you've ever worked for a company or a boss where you dreaded every Monday and you celebrated every Friday, you know how miserable it is. But we spend almost 40% of our life at the office. So why don't we elevate our team members so they look eagerly forward to every Monday morning? And they're really a little bit disappointed about the weekend just because they don't get a chance to do what they love the most. In order to accomplish this, I provide my clients with a leadership strategy and a purpose. The leadership strategy that I provide my clients is develop a diverse community of our mission is to develop a diverse community of self-actualized team members that share a purpose and common values. Diversified, common. Seems like an oxymoron. You want diversified people with diverse backgrounds, diverse experiences, but who share common values and a common purpose, because that's how they make decisions that are in support of what your company's mission and goals are. And then the strategy to do this, sorry, I went ahead of myself, is to clear away the barriers that prevent team members from being self-actualized. So this is your leadership strategy, which sits on top of what Greg was talking about, sits on top of your business strategy, which is how you diversify your company or how you differentiate your company with your business strategy. But when you have born leaders, when you have self-actualized individuals within your organization, those problems and challenges that come at you, that inundate your radar screen, they start to pick those up. So when I was flying, we always flew as a group. We always flew as a team. And so we would sort out the enemies. We wouldn't each put our radars and lock onto the same bogey. That's a waste of resources. And your team members are the same way. When you elevate your team to become self-actualized, then you can sort through the problems, prioritize the problems. You take the strategic problems. The more tactical problems, you let other team members lock onto those and focus on those. And thus the name, Locked On Leadership, understanding how to lock on to the specific problems that are our highest priority. So I talked about self-actualization. The biggest challenge of most business owners have is they don't understand how to build a team, how to elevate people to that place where they're going to be willing and eager to come to work and lock on your problems. Abraham Maslow in his hierarchy tells us how to do that. And what most companies do is they'll focus on love and belonging. They try and form this group, they try and form a team, but they completely ignore safety and security. They completely ignore this step. So in order to create a high-performing team, there's 5 elements that need to be available, that you need to do in order to create that safety and security. You need to have good job descriptions. In other words, you need to be able to tell your team members what it is you expect them to do. You need to have good metrics. You need to be able to let team members see for themselves objectively how they are doing on their mission. You need to provide training so they know how to do their job, set them up for success. And you need to have a defined career path so people see growth. Because if there isn't growth opportunities, they're going to find it elsewhere. In order for that to happen, the 5th element has to be present. And that's you need to have a philosophy of corporate growth. See, business is like pushing a rock up a hill. In fact, life is pushing a rock up the hill, right? Because you can't sit still. In other words, to just take and rest on your laurels and try and hold where you are takes energy. Eventually you tire. The rock starts to roll down the hill. As the rock rolls down the hill and there's no opportunity for growth, your best team members will jump ship and go elsewhere. That leaves you with your less than ideal candidates who then create more problems, forcing that rock farther downhill. But only adding a little more energy than it takes to hold it in place, you actually can push the rock up the hill. And that creates opportunity for growth, which creates excitement in the team and allows people to thrive. So how do I accomplish all this? When you work with me, I have all of these programs available. I do coaching 4 times a month, twice a month, or once a month, depending on the needs of the company. I use assessment, scientific assessments, whether it's the tactical watch report where I do a high-level financial analysis just to see where things are breaking down, not the in-depth stuff that Greg's capable of doing, but this is really just a 30,000-foot overview of where we're going to focus our energy. Organizational and leadership 360s. What's going on in your company? How are they set up? Trimetric DNA or personality and behavioral assessments. Pete has used them to good success, and various workshops. So what's an ideal referral look like for me? My bread and butter, companies that are at least $1 million in gross revenues. Now I can work with smaller companies. I have several clients who are, but ideally, at least $1 million. They have the resources and they have enough momentum going that I can help them. They also need to be open-minded owners. Cream company, $10 million in revenue that wants to develop internal leaderships. At this point, they're starting to grow to the place where they're starting to have a management structure. Typically, they're elevating their best workers into leadership roles, but they're not equipping them with the leadership skills. So that's a great, that's where I really want to live. I want to make that my bread and butter. Dream associations, where I can actually reach out and touch many, many companies by presenting myself to associations where I can then achieve these other goals for them. I'm Dave Rosenberg. I need you to be a locked-on leader. Thank you.